make a move and the bunny gets it.
I said, put the bunny back in the box. Why couldn't you put the bunny back in the box?
It's showtime.
Psychically, I'm very well endowed.
I want to know what you're thinking. There are some things you can't hide. I want to know what you're feeling. Tell me what's on your mind.
Hi. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Okay.
Okay, now I can hear you.
Yep. I have a problem with StreamYard selecting the wrong thing, and so what? Let me go back and say that I had this really cool thing planned where I was like, did my guest make it or not? And I kind of introduced you, and then had you pop on, and then evidently nobody could hear me. So, oh well.
Sorry.
No, that's on me. I didn't check. But anyway, thank you. Thanks for letting me know about that. I've been talking to myself. Just is a little weird. A lot weird when you're on stream. Stream talking to yourself. But anyway. All right. So welcome to the show, Matthew. We're going to talk a little bit about suspense in writing. You know a little bit about that, right?
Yeah. I mainly write in urban fantasy for young adults. I don't know if that's relevant or not. But yeah, it's got plenty of suspense, I'd say.
Well, there you go. Well, basically, suspense. What would you say that if you had to boil down suspense to like one thing, what would you say that one thing would be?
I would say tension, but I don't know for sure. Oh, you just started loading.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I would say tension.
Oh, okay. All right. Yes, Wiki. I know. I fixed it. Thanks for helping. Anyway. Yeah, well, I would say if you're going to boil down suspense to anything, it would probably be the question. All suspense has at its heart a question. Okay? And that could be who, what, where, and how. Usually it's one of those four questions, and sometimes it might be a combination of one or two. You know, example of a where is if you had this situation where somebody was like, in this strange maze or something like that, and the whole entire thing, like you ever watched The Cube?
No, I've never watched that. Sounds kind of like The Maze Runner.
Yeah, Maze Runner would be definitely would be an example of that. Yeah. So basically, that would be an example of suspense involving where. The who would be like a typical murder mystery. Who
Yeah,
killed who or whatever.
that makes sense.
The what is usually involving supernatural or alien or super science fiction or something like that.
Oh, I
Like
thought you meant like
the
treasure
thing.
hunting.
Well, no, that would be that'd be like the MacGuffin, I guess. That would be an example. But yeah, I mean I guess the what or the thing would be a kind of like a combination of what and who, because they weren't entirely sure what the creature was and who was like being infected with it. But suspense has if you can answer one of those things, who, what, where, how, and where, or I can't get this mixed up. Anyway, but anyway, any of those questions. But suspense is basically if you have a suspense story, it's like you spend the whole entire time answering one of those questions, the main question of the plot.
So it's the keep your guessing type story.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, like an expert at this would probably be Alfred Hitchcock. Alfred Hitchcock was the master of suspense. I'd say Twilight Zone's probably a real good example of this, to where.
Oh, I love Twilight Zone.
Yeah, but the secret to the Twilight Zone was you get that question kind of asked at the beginning, and then the whole entire thing is like answering it. Like one of my favorites, where this soldier is like meets. He's like in a cylindrical prison, right? And in there is like a ballerina. There's like a clown. There's like a, and the whole entire thing is him trying to escape the prison, and he finds out that they're dolls, and they're in a
yeah, I remember that one.
Yeah, that's
they've
like,
been donated to Catholic Charities or something, right?
Right. Yeah, and so
that was a weird ending.
Right. But it was suspense. You didn't know where they were. You didn't know what. You didn't know why was these Why was these four strange individuals stuck in this weird prison, and how did they get there, and why are they there? And at the end of it, you found that out. But then you have like the voiceover at the end of it, kind of like adding the overarching. Suspense makes a reader keep guessing to the very end with a twist. Well, yeah, the twist is definitely a big part of suspense. If you don't have the twist, you don't have the payoff at the end, then it kind of like ruins everything that came before. So like there's a lot of bad endings. You'll have a great setup. You'll have a great the middle is awesome, but then the ending is just like, is that it? Or no, or I'd say that's just no way that would wind up like that. Hey, what's up, dude? See you.
Mm-hmm. Controversial opinion. I think that's exactly how I feel about the Blair Witch.
There you go. That's a good example of it. You have all that build up, you have all that atmosphere, you have all that is the witch real or not? Are they hearing things? Are they making it up? Or are they?
And then they never explain it.
Right. And then you have the jump scare, and then it's like, well, they were never found, and it's like, is that it? Is that all I get? But
yeah,
good example. But I mean, it's it's really above all other kind of type of storytelling, suspense. Basically, the ending, the twist at the end, or where you land, is like the most vitally important part of it. And you have to set it up, you have to build the suspense, and then the twist has to be perfect at the end of it. If it's a bad twist at the end, then it validates everything else. Why do people not? People still don't talk about Game of Thrones. Remember when Game of Thrones was out and everybody was talking about it? Every single episode, it's like something happened and everybody was like buzzing about. But then they screwed up the end of the whole thing, and you find out that Bran is going to be king. Sorry, spoilers. And then the lady that they built up the whole entire time turned out to turn into a monster and had to be put down like a dog. And then the guy who you thought was going to be king, Snow, he had to put her down, and then he just becomes Bran's hired his right hand or whatever. But you're like, that's the guy, Bran. Out of all the candidates, that's the last one you think is going to get it, and nobody was satisfied with it because they didn't build it up right.
Yeah,
because they built it and built it and built it, and then they screwed up at the end, and now nobody talks about Game of Thrones. If they had landed on their feet, like somebody like Breaking Bad landed on its feet, we still talk about Breaking Bad. But whole entire time, you're wondering, is Walter going to succeed? Will he or won't he succeed? The whole entire time. And then at the end of it, you're sitting there, you think about the ending, and you're like, that's the only way he could have wound up.
Yeah.
But what would be an example for you?
Well, of a suspenseful thing that's good or bad?
We'll start with bad. What would be a bad one for you?
Other than the one about the Blair Witch, I would have to say bad twist would be, let's see, can't think of one off the top of my head right now.
No, okay.
Sorry. Oh yes, I remember now. There was, oh yes, you ever seen The Night Gallery?
Yeah.
It was basically, for those of you who don't know, a continuation of Twilight Zone, but it was in color and longer. There was an episode where
Rod Sterling. Rod Sterling wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah, and there was an episode where this guy gets rescued from a World War II boat sink, and then about halfway through, you find out he got rescued by the Titanic. And I was thinking it should have ended right there. But no,
Yeah.
it keeps going and explains what's happening. And I thought, this is too much effort. Just stop it at him being rescued by the Titanic.
Right. Yeah, that would have been a great place to stop, and maybe build it up a little bit, and he's like, oh, I'm rescued, yay! I'm finally saved, and then it's like, and then it kind of like pans away, and then it's like, oh, you HMS Titanic, and then it's like that would have been good, but yeah, you can definitely mess up an ending like that by over explaining or things like that. I when it goes to suspense, I always like my ultimate example is probably Sixth Sense.
Oh, never actually watched that, but I'm familiar with the twist.
Yeah, but what kills people when they go back and watch it is that and M. Night Shyamalan, he admitted to this. He says a couple of times he thought there's no way that I didn't just give away the twist. Like when the boy's looking right at him, he says, I see dead people. They walk around, they don't know that they're dead. And he's looking right at him and he's closing in on Bruce Willis's face. And I go back and watch it. And I'm like, how did I not know then? Well, it's because it makes you feel like an idiot, and it's like, why did I figure this out? But the first time I watched the Sixth Sense, I just felt stupid. I just felt so stupid. But everybody else missed it too. I mean, As
for a good twist, have you ever watched Samaritan?
Samaritan, yeah, I watched it.
It's a relatively new Amazon show, about a year old. It's about this kid who idolizes this supposedly dead superhero, and he thinks he's found him, and at the end you find out he hasn't befriended the superhero, he's befriended his greatest enemy.
Yeah. And
I love that twist.
Right. But it was the enemy of the Samaritan, but because of the Samaritan sacrifice, he turned over a new leaf.
Yeah, he basically withdrew from society to atone for his crimes.
Right. But yeah, it's Sylvester Stallone wrote that one and starred it.
Oh, he did? I knew he starred in it. I didn't know he wrote it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he wrote it. I believe I read it. He wrote it somewhere. But he writes the Tulsa King, that show he's in right now. And it's got a lot of good twists in it and things like that. But I mean, the thing about suspense that makes it so like fun to read, especially when it's done right, is if you can fool somebody all the way at the end, all the way to the end, then you've done your job, And it's kind of like a chess match between the writer and the reader, but at the same time, and I've seen this happen where there's in bad twist where just to like have a twist at the end, they'll like you ever watched the Mentalist? You ever watched The Mentalist?
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, Patrick Jane is chasing this guy called Red John, and they built this guy up for seasons after seasons after seasons. And
I remember that.
And the guy, and then they had this red herring where he catches up to Red John and murders the guy, and then they like. The next season you think, well, that ends the show, but then the next season he's like I'm sorry I lied to everybody, that wasn't Red John. And so
yeah, I remember that.
And everybody was like, oh, F you, man, F you,
Well, that reminds me of what happened with X-Files.
Yeah, Yeah, X-Files, they build up, and then they just, like, the end of it, just stupid, you know?
Yeah, the bad guys won, and then apparently they got so many angry letters that they had to make another season. Oops, that was just Scully having a prophecy. He's not really dead.
Well, a lot of people think Lost had a. They think that they like basically wrote themselves into a corner, and they basically had to just come up with some. They had to pull like an ending out of their ass to complete the series. And the one that they came up with kind of invalidated the whole rest of the series, you know. And now nobody talks about Lost. But you know, when it was on, everybody talked about Lost. You know, everybody's like, "Oh, did you see this? Did you see that? Did you see that clue?" And this happened. It's really happens a lot with American television because they have like 22 episodes, and then if it gets renewed, you know, it doesn't happen very often with the British shows, because the British shows are like, okay, this is how many seasons, this is the whole entire arc, you know.
Yeah, I've noticed we don't have very many miniseries in America anymore.
No, they don't. Miniseries are, it's definitely a lost art. They just don't do that anymore. But, you know, I mean, it's like The Mentalist, you know. Then they like carried on a couple more seasons, and then they're like, okay, well, we've got to reveal Red John. And basically they pulled a character actor from like the second episode that hadn't been seen in the series since. And kind of like brought him back a few episodes before the end, and then it's like, oh, that guy's Red John, and then people are like, no, he's not, you know. I mean, people are like, they kind of figured out who Red John had to be, and the Bruno Heller, I think his name is, the showrunner, he's like, oh shit, they figured it out, and so. He just basically yanked this actor out of his Rolodex that was in the second episode, and it was so obvious that he's just basically like, oh, I gotta pull this out of my butt, you know. They figured it out, so I gotta make it a surprise.
I actually think an obvious twist can work if it's fun. Like I said, Samaritan, I saw the twist coming, but I still enjoyed it.
Right. Well, if you do your character work and you set it up right, then the twist is even if the twist is anticlimactic, you can still enjoy it.
Yeah.
But
one I didn't like was Cloverfield. I loved Cloverfield 1, hated the other two.
Yeah.
I just felt they were just trying to milk as much mystery and as much money as they could without actually moving the plot forward at all.
Nah. Yeah, I'll agree with that. They definitely, you know, it felt like, especially that, I mean, the first one, it was okay. It was a found footage one, and I just, you know, I don't really like found footage. It's kind of like the whole Blair Witch thing. But you know, the second one, you know, John Goodman was awesome in that. And then you know, at the end of it, when she finally escapes his clutches, and she gets out there, and it's like, oh, you know, remember this is part of the movie universe, you know. And then just sitting there, you're like, that was kind of tacked on at the end, you know.
Yeah. Rumor has it was a different movie altogether, and they shot that final scene to incorporate it into Cloverfield. But if you see the Netflix exclusive, if you've seen the Netflix exclusive finale, I pity you, because it was horrible.
Yeah, I didn't watch it. I didn't bother. They burned me with 2, so I didn't bother.
I watched it, and I still don't understand it. The only thing I understood was they committed some sort of sin which caused the first movie to happen. And that's about all I could figure out. Was by experimenting with a new fuel supply, they caused the monster to exist in our universe. And I'm like, what? That's what I got from the confusing thing that is Cloverfield 3.
Yeah, I didn't. I read the synopsis and I was like, okay, this is going to be a mess.
There was actually supposedly a proposed script for the third one that would have made a lot more sense, and someone made a fan film based on it that was leagues better. It would have explained that. It would have incorporated the viral marketing campaign and actually given a definite reason why everything was happening. Basically, if you don't know, there was a secret little marketing campaign online where this eco-terrorists were trying to fight a oil company. Well, at the end of this fan film, it turns out that the oil company had resurrected the monster not on purpose, but to harvest something else, which was helping humans get evolved so they could survive the monster attack that they knew was coming.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot more sense than whatever actually happened in the third movie.
Yeah. Well, one example, Doctor Who used to be real good at suspenseful episodes, and they had this two-parter. Like early on during the Eccleston era, the Doctor dance, the empty child and the Doctor dances, and in the empty child, you get introduced to this little boy walking around with like a gas mask on, and he's asking everybody, "Are you my mummy?" And all this creepy shit's happening around him. It's like he's got godlike powers or something. And everywhere he goes, suddenly people sprout like gas masks and start asking for their mummy.
Oh boy.
And it's just like eerie shit. This is like happening during the London Blitz. He lands in the middle of London Blitz. And it's just like this whole entire thing that was like, what the hell is that thing? And why is it so powerful? And then you get at the end of it, and you realize that this ship had landed, and when it landed, it killed this little boy that was like running from the had his gas mask on and was running from the bombs, and the inside of it's basically an ambulance, an alien ambulance, and the way it heal people was through, I guess what do you call them? Like little tiny machines or whatever, nano machines. And nanobots, yeah. And because they didn't quite understand, what they were putting back together, they kind of like built him back with the mask attached to him.
Oh boy.
And so when he walked around, these nanobots thought that they had to fix everybody around him by transforming him into that. And so at the end of it, there's this one little girl that keeps, running around, and she keeps running to the doctor, and she's running from this child, and this child's like chasing her for some reason. And then he realizes that she was an underage girl who had a child out of wedlock, and she is indeed that little boy's mummy. And so he's like, go to him, and trust me, go to him. And so she goes to him and hugs the little boy. And because the nanobots scan her and realize that this is the mother's DNA, and they use her genetic code to fix the little boy. And so it brings it back to life. And the doctor is kind of like, this time everybody lives. And he kind of like, he collects all the nanobots and he like shoves them into everybody, and it heals everybody that it altered, and heals people, even people that were injured in the hospital. And it's like this one lady that he tells the doctor, he's like, just tell everybody that you're the greatest doctor and that they're healed and they can go home. And then he just like, he goes away in the TARDIS. And this doctor's like, this little old lady walks up to him. He says, "Doctor, I grew a leg." And he's like, "Perhaps you miscounted." But it's the way he just said it. He's kind of like, "Perhaps you miscounted," But that whole entire thing was like this terrifying little boy is like walking around like, what the hell is that thing? It felt supernatural. It felt terrifying. And this kid's like busting through walls and going after that little girl, that girl. And then, and then suddenly, the reverse happens and it's realized that it was not dangerous or scary. It was actually benign. And it was just trying to heal the little boy. And it didn't have any frame of reference. And as soon as it gave it frame of reference, it healed everybody, But it's just one of those that was one of my favorite twists of all time. Because the joy with the Doctor, because Doctor Who's always have a body count. Everybody dies in Doctor Who's, right? And then just this one episode, everybody lives, and just like his joy on his face when he's like, everybody lives. Finally, one day that everybody lives. And it's just like every doctor has got to feel that, because doctors doctors just beat themselves up when they couldn't save somebody. And it was just a great moment. But it was the suspense, the build up, not knowing what the hell that thing was, and it had terrifying. Because they would go somewhere and all of a sudden the radio would start asking them if it was his mummy. I mean, it was just creepy. Yeah, it's creepy shit, man. And then to have that twist at the end, it was just like, that's back when they were writing it well. I mean, they were writing it so well. But that's the thing, it's just suspense is it's kind of become a lost art because you have to know what you're doing to do suspense right, and nobody knows what they're doing anymore.
Yeah.
And movies.
Well, I would argue, but have you watched Wednesday?
I have watched Wednesday. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I think they know what they're doing.
Yeah, every once in a while you'll find an exception.
But
to the rule.
For the most part. What?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
Yeah. Can I tell you my favorite Twilight Zone episode?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I think it was called The Gift. And it was about this alien lands on Earth. And you're led to believe he's some sort of invader. And he kidnaps a kid, runs all over the place trying to pawn off a gift. And you find out at the end he was actually trying to start a trade negotiation with Earth, and to prove he had no malice, he was going to give them a gift and a recipe for a vaccine against cancer.
Oh no.
And they burn it and kill him before they realize what it is. And by the time they put out the flames, the recipe itself is gone.
Yeah, I like the reverse of that. To Serve Man. Yeah. Have you ever seen that one?
Oh yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
where they're trying to translate this book that the aliens, they showed up and they're like solving all of humanity's problems and making everything to a utopia, and yet there's this book that they've set down when they first got there, and there's these people are trying to translate it, and after a while they're like, "Why are we trying to translate it? They're good people, And then the woman just stays on it, but the guy volunteers to be one of the people that goes on the ship to the other world, because they're like inviting people to go back to their home planet. And so he's getting loaded onto the ship, and she shows up and she's like, "The Serve Man is a cookbook."
Yeah.
because they figured out the title, to serve man, and he's like, "Oh, see, they want to serve us. They want to serve us," And he's like, "It's a cookbook. It's a cookbook."
Yeah, that was a weird
Awesome.
twist.
I know, but it's just the
Yeah.
setup. You get the false expectation. You build, and then boom, twist. And then you're
One of
there
the
like,
weirdest. One trend I've noticed is if everyone thinks the aliens are friendly, they're not, and if everyone thinks the aliens are hostile, they're not.
yeah,
In a movie, it seems.
yeah. They were. That seems to be like a trend. I think it might have been started with Orson Scott Card in Ender's Game.
Oh,
I
thought it started with E.T.
Well, E.T. If by that definition, then E.T. would have been a bad guy. So
no, everyone thought everyone was trying to capture him at least.
Yeah, but see, your premise is if they seem like they're evil, then they're good, and if they seem like they're benign, then they're evil.
Yeah, but wasn't the government trying to capture him though? I don't know. I don't remember very well.
Well, I mean, but he seemed nice and he was benign, but the government thought he was evil. But in Ender's Game, Arthur Scott Card, humanity's trying to survive against this alien creatures who are way more technically advanced than they are, and so they basically tricked this brilliant child into fighting their battle for them, they basically genetically create like this perfect child to fight this battle for
He was genetically engineered. I didn't know that from a movie.
Yeah. Well, it's in the book that he was genetically engineered to be perfect, and so that they're at the end though, after he gets pushed to his breaking point, and just wanting to go home, wanting to be done with it, he basically nukes that whole entire alien planet. But then he starts having these nightmares, and in the nightmares, he realizes that there might be one alien queen left, and so he goes and he finds her. And then she reveals to him that there was a misunderstanding, that their culture, basically they're a hive, and that they don't view individuals as important, and they didn't realize that that's how humanity viewed things, and that's why they were killing humans. It's because they were just operating as a hive, and humans were expecting them, or humans thought they were malevolent. And so he discovers that, and so he spends the rest of like several books trying to restore the hive to restore. They call them the buggers, to kind of like reverse the genocide that he caused because he was in his ignorance. But but I think that's the first time I encountered that kind of dichotomy where they thought that the aliens were evil, and it turns out they were good aliens. Or they just didn't
the movie makes it even more tragic. They were just after water, and they never intended to attack again. Right. They had given up, and we were still not forgiving them for their one attack on Earth.
Right. Well, but I mean, it just that was like a really cool twist, because I mean, the whole entire time, they're set up to be the bad guys, and then you find out that mankind in their ignorance became the bad guys, and but I mean, that's the thing about suspense though, is it's such a it's like basically you got to get the plane in the air, and then you have to fly the plane to the destination, but then you got to land it.
Yeah.
And the landing, it doesn't matter if you got the plane up. It doesn't matter if you got to the destination. Your plane your plane ride is only as successful as if it landed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's plenty of successful plane rides until the landing, and then the landing kind of like invalidated everything that came before. And I think Suspense is a lot like that. Is that yeah? I mean, you can have a great premise, you can get it up off the ground, and you can have a great plot in the middle, and the who done it, you know, where did it happen, you know, what happened, you know, who's responsible. But if you don't land that sucker on the runway successfully, then it doesn't matter. The plot doesn't matter. The twists don't matter. Nothing matters if you don't land the plane. And that's what. Go ahead.
Have you ever seen what was it? Murder on the Orient Express?
Yeah, I've. That
was one twist I didn't see coming.
Yeah, it's Agatha Christie. Yeah, that's why I don't.
They made a movie recently that I watched, and I did not see the ending coming. I kind of had it narrowed down to 2 suspects, and I did not expect the end.
Well, that's why Agatha Christie is considered the queen of suspense, is because you get to the end of hers. You know, I none of her stories I ever got to the end of it and said, "Oh, that wasn't right." Yeah, that wasn't right. Yeah. I always get the end of hers, and I'm like, "Well, damn! Of course, it was right there. All the clues were there." You know.
Well, in the second movie in that franchise, I knew exactly what was going on like halfway through the movie, but the first one, I was like, "Wait, what?"
Right. Yeah. I mean, not all stories aren't created equal, but the ones that are good, you know, they're really good. But you know, I mean, that's the thing. I used to read after this Scottish author named Val McDermid, and her earlier books, you know, she would have like some suspense in them, but then she kind of just got to where you get to the end of it, and it's just kind of like, oh, this guy was the villain, and then, you know, and it's like some random guy that they might have encountered earlier, but there's really no other connection with him. And the ones that really work are the ones that, you know, you were acquainted with all along, or somebody that was like involved with the story all along. Yeah. But here lately, they've made a mistake of where they'll like just take some random person that you saw maybe once or twice, and then, oh, that's the big bad at the end of it. Yeah. And you have no, and it's like, it just feels cheap.
Yeah.
And they do this all the time now. Hold on a second. Parole TV series was the best. Yeah, I agree to that. But you know, and I think it has a lot to do with their inability to create characters now, because characters are the vehicle for your story. And Pervio series, I said Parole. Parole. I said Parole. Anyway,
he's a Belgian detective.
He knows. He's making fun of my accent.
Okay, I'm just making sure. Okay.
No, he's just being an asshole. Anyway.
Okay.
He's because he's still got a beard and he wants to rag me about it. So, because I had to shave mine. Anyway, but the thing about it is it's becoming a lost art, and it's something that we really need to make an effort to revive, keep alive, because it's like the Dick Wolf television series, like the Law and Orders, you know, the Chicago this or that. there's no suspense for me because he's so into identity politics that you can always tell who the bad guy is. The first rich white male you see is going to be the bad guy.
I did not
single.
know that, but I haven't watched it for a while.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The first rich white person you see is going to be the bad guy. Every freaking time. I've tried it. I've been just randomly watch a Law and Order, and as soon as I see the first rich white guy, I'm like, yep, that's the bad guy. And so it's useless to watch any of them. They're not storytellers. They're identitarians. But anyway, hell to all you magnificent, fill in blank. I'm not making my accent. The asshole part is right. Not my fault. You got a sex change. I mean, you shaved your beard. Asshole. Anyway, bastards and bastards. All right. I knew it. I knew he was making fun of me. I knew it. Anyway. But, just yanking your chain. I know you are. I know you are. Anyway, you're good by me too. Well, anyway, so you're reviving. Looks like you're reviving an old IP. You want to talk about that for a little bit?
It's not an old IP, but I am trying to redo. You mean my comic? Yeah.
Well, I've got your link in the chat.
It's based on two old IPs, Supernatural and Grimm, but it's its own thing. It's basically it's called The Night Slayers. It's a comic coming up on Kickstarter, and it's the first issue will be like Supernatural. I mean, will be like Rumpelstiltskin, but in a more modern setting with police and detectives and private investigators trying to help the mother get back her kid.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, Rumpelstiltskin. I mean, some of those freaking fairy tales are just god awful, man. Nightmare inducing. I can't believe if they let me read that shit as a kid, man. Like the Brothers Grimm fairy tales. Holy crap! I had I had a Reader's Digest collected edition of fairy tales, and some of the ones, I mean, nightmare fuel, man.
I got the sugar-coated ones as a kid. I was shocked to find out how the uncensored ones look.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah.
I didn't find out about that till the Grimm series came out.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're a lot darker. A lot freaking darker. Yeah. Anything German's dark. Okay. It's like the never-ending story. All the darkness in that thing, that was supposed to be children's literature in Germany. Okay. Or the Black Cauldron. That's based off of children's literature in Germany. I mean,
which country is Watership Down from?
I think that's from England. But yeah, that's damn. Watership Down.
Never watched it, but I know the basic premise.
Yeah.
Two rabbit tribes fighting over dominance.
Dead bunnies. Yeah. Bunnies everywhere. But so your story, so it's like a retelling of Rumpelstiltskin. Is it like are you like is it like a series or is it a one shot?
We hope to make it a series, each one based on a different fairy tale for the first four. But it depends on how well we do with the first one. And it's available to be followed right now on Kickstarter. And we're hoping to get a lot more followers than we have right now.
If you want to check it out, it's in the chat over there. I'll put it in my description after we get off here. But okay.
Just one more thing. The sequel, if we make it, will be based on The Little Mermaid loosely. But I'm also taking my own twist on each of these fairy tales, in addition to making them more modern. and not the kind of modernizing Hollywood would do.
So not nihilistic, just yeah, whatever.
Just trying to make it a little more. Well, I'm trying to make it a little more like it's in a more modern setting, and make it more supernatural, more lore accurate.
Okay.
Like the weapons you have to fight them with will be more based on the religion that they're from, rather than what the fairy tale says. For example, in this book, the monster won't be going home if you guess his name. I'll let you know that much.
Okay.
You have to do much more than that.
So do you have like a group or a organization? It's like your protagonist or something.
What was that?
Do you have a group or a organization that's your protagonist?
Oh, okay. They're called the Night Slayers.
Okay, so Night Slayers is the organization.
Yeah, they're a couple paranormal private investigators who will, for so much money, will take care of your paranormal problems. And then we have a police officer who doesn't believe in the paranormal and tries to get in their way all the time. But in the first issue, one of the witnesses believes in the paranormal, so he has to put that aside and ally with them in hopes of getting anywhere with this case.
Okay.
So they form an uneasy alliance for the greater good.
Okay. Yeah. If you set that up right and you got characters that are intriguing enough, then you can that definitely sounds like a good series.
Yeah.
You ever watch the Friday the 13th the series?
I don't really like R-rated stuff, so I probably haven't. I think I may have watched one episode.
Yeah, it's not R-rated.
I think I watched one episode of it, but I don't remember hardly at all.
Well, it was similar to that, and that they had to retrieve cursed objects from their uncle, kind of like basically the brother of the uncle, and then the two nephew and niece of the guy. But basically sold his soul to Satan to curse all these objects and then like put them out in the wild. And so they're trying to get them back. And it was kind of episodic, but each like cursed relic would have like horrible consequences for somebody.
Was that anything to do with the Jason story, or was it a completely unique story?
Well, there's an overarching story, but each object had its own arc.
No, I mean, was this connected to Jason or not? Or Crystal Cove?
No, it had nothing to do with Jason or Crystal Cove. No.
Then why was it called Friday the 13th?
Well, because the Friday the 13th is, that has its own lore outside of Jason and, But
that would explain why I never watched it, because I never knew it wasn't connected to that.
Well, no, trust me, find it and watch it. It's actually a really good show.
Yeah.
Mitsatz-Pitalik and Rumpelstiltskin shared a common weakness. Yep. I think I had to be deliberate. So, see you, Tank.
Okay.
And Brian. Okay. That was an interesting show back in the day, Friday the 13th series. Yeah. Yeah, it had nothing to do with Jason. It wasn't about slashers. It was about cursed objects that they had to try to retrieve and put it in this blessed vault, so it wouldn't
something
harm
like
anybody.
Warehouse 13.
Yeah, it's similar to Warehouse 13. In fact, Warehouse 13 basically came from that show. They took the premise from that show. That's why it was Warehouse 13. And so but the guy who created Warehouse 13 loved that show so much that he like created his own version of it. But he, instead of cursed objects, it was just like objects that were dangerous or whatever.
Insanity.
Yeah, but it's more science based than supernatural based. But it's pretty much
Well,
the same premise.
yeah. But only twist being some of the enchanted artifacts were actually beneficial.
Right. Yeah, but
In my opinion.
the Friday 13th, they were never beneficial. I mean,
Yeah.
these were like really, 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 really bad artifacts. I mean, really bad. I mean, they're basically Satan's tools to like snare people and basically send them to hell, essentially. So it was a good show. Very, very interesting core characters, and they even killed off one of them, like one of the I think it was first season. So I mean, you kind of like that kind of set the tone. You didn't know if they were going to make it out of the episodes alive. But it's yeah, if you get a chance, it's a really good show. If you like a Night Gallery, it's similar to Night Gallery, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, check out the link. It's in the chat. I'll put it in the description later. It's just a sign up. But it's gonna be on Kickstarter, not FMC, but it's you know, that's okay. But it's gonna be on Kickstarter. So yeah, just check it out.
We plan to launch about September 20th.
Okay. All right. No problem.
Somewhere along that lines.
Okay. Try to get some signups for that. That's probably a good idea. Yeah. So yeah, check that out. Thank you for coming on and talking about Suspense with me today. I hope we help. And if you're out there and you love Suspense, then write some, because we got to keep it going. And the current generation of writers couldn't suspense their way out of a wet paper bag. And so us who remember Hitchcock, us who remember The Twilight Zone, and us who remember Agatha Christie and you know, and the like, we need to keep suspense alive, because the people that are writing shit right now cannot write suspense to save their damn necks. So we're just going to have to carry the torch. Warehouse 13, Eureka Sanctuary, all in the same universe, had several crossovers back when Sci-Fi Channel was good. Yeah.
Yeah, back before they were fwee.
Yeah. Back when they actually, you know, seemed to have some kind of like vision for, you know, their channel. You know, it went kind of like reality show right after that. And
one of the last shows I remember loving was and I heard this is controversial to say, was what was it? The Dresden Files.
Oh, I loved the Dresden Files. I was a big fan.
I hear the people who love the source material hate that show, but I
love them
it.
both. I love them both because they really don't have much to do with one another. But I loved it for what it was. And it was a really decent show. It had some very suspenseful episodes, and you know, Blackthorn, the lead character, was a good Harry Dresden. I really liked him. I as a matter of fact, Bob in the television show, I like that Bob better than I like the one in the books. And that's controversial to say, but I really like that Bob better than what's in the books. Terrence Mann was the actor that played him. It was just one of my favorite characters. Back when they had talent and imagination. Yep.
Yeah, and those funny little clips in between shows where they'd have like someone playing fetch with the Loch Ness Monster or stuff like that.
Right. Yeah,
I love that one.
I never really got into Eureka, but I did like Warehouse 13 pretty good, and Sanctuary kind of lost its way after a little while. just a little while. But the guy who played Tesla, who's supposed to be like an energy vampire, I love that character. He was really, really funny. But anyway, I digress. But anyway, so thank you all for coming, and thank you for giving me a little bit of suspense if you're going to make it or not, Matthew. And I'm glad you did make it. And wish my mic was on when you first got here. I need to remember to check that. I need to remember to check that every stinking time. Frickin' StreamYards, I swear. All right, anyway, thank y'all for coming. Y'all have a very good night. And check out that link I got in the chat and sign up for that book. Looks really good. And we will see you all next time. All right, follow the White Rabbit. Y'all have a good night. Bye, everybody.
Bye.